storyteller is a veteran who has been with us before. Her name is DeLisa Seals. DeLisa is head clerk at the Sebring Library. She's a writer, she's a poet, she's a minister, and she has just published a book of poetry entitled Clearing the Room. DeLisa is going to tell her story, Welcome to My Neighborhood. Please welcome DeLisa.
It's a beautiful day in this neighborhood, a beautiful day for a neighbor. Would you be mine? Could you be mine? It's a neighborhood.
Hello, friends. If you would have asked me growing up if I had a normal childhood, I would have told you yes. In the summertime, we rode our bikes, and I went to school with and grew up with all the kids in my neighborhood. Nothing too weird, just a normal everyday in my neighborhood. We knew everyone. Let me introduce you. Welcome to my neighborhood. I grew up on the south side of Youngstown. I lived with my grandparents. I was the oldest of 4 kids. On the left of us was a family, a mother, a father, 5 girls, and they were the only white people in our neighborhood. The dad didn't like black people. When we would play in his neighborhood, when we would play in his grass, he would yell at us, "Get out of my yard," into slang word. My grandfather and him had many shouting matches in the front yard. On Saturdays, my grandparents would sit on the porch, and across the street, you could see an empty lot, and you could see the street over, and you would see the mail lady sitting at the drug house. There was the mail truck. She would go in, come out several hours later, go back downtown, and come back and do it again. This could go on for several days. My grandmother would look at my grandfather, and she would joke with him and say, "I guess we're not getting any mail today." After several days, we would see the mail truck stop at each house. She would get out of the mail truck with a huge stack of mail wrapped up in a rubber band. She would apologize, but never really explain why there was so much mail. My grandmother would just say, "Oh, it's okay. It's just junk mail," while she's passing the bills to my grandfather. And from this I learned that neighbors just stick together. In my neighborhood, that's what we did. We stuck together. Like when the guy who yelled racial slurs at you earlier in the day, wife comes knocking at our door in the middle of the night because he's in a drunken rage and she needs some place for her daughters to sleep. My grandmother never asked any questions. She just took them in, and she would call my sister and I down for a sleepover. And the mail lady, well, you just don't call and turn her in. She has a good government job with benefits. And if she didn't have a job, what would she do? She would probably be breaking into your home, taking the things that you've worked hard for. But 6 years ago, my son and I, we moved to rural town of Sebring. And it's reminiscent of the neighborhood that I grew up in. He gets to go to school with and grow up with kids that are right in the neighborhood. And he gets to see kids riding bikes every day. But years from now, he'll have his own definition of the neighborhood. He'll be sitting on his porch with his wife, and they'll be watching the mail lady who actually delivers the mail on time each day, and seeing the golf carts whizzing by. And he'll look at his wife and say, "It's just another normal day in this neighborhood."
la gente de tu barrio.
The people that you meet each day.
Ándale, ahora vamos a cantar del cartero.